Hey, tourpreneurs, it's Mitch Bach, and just a quick note before we begin today's episode. Tourpreneur is currently sponsored by Google. We're thankful for their support of our community, and we are offering with them a completely free course helping you unlock the power and potential of Google's Things to Do program, which is specifically helping tour operators add their tours to Google in new ways that gives you new exposure and more direct bookings. To learn more, go to tourpreneur.com/Google. And as always, show notes, more resources, links to our newsletter, our business coaching community, and so much more are available on tourpreneur.com. Now to the episode.
The guides we hire, they are also mostly hiking and wine and gastronomy guides. So we want to concentrate on those two main things and not be everything for everybody. So even in 2019, we even got the national award like best niche product, because mostly a lot of Georgian tour companies, they offer like everything. And we didn't want that. We wanted to do what we love and do it really well.
Okay, Tourpreneurs, welcome to another episode of Tourpreneur Podcast, and I'm very welcome today to invite Daria. This is going to be challenging. Kholodilina. Is that correct, or is that near, Daria?
Very close. Hi.
You pronounce your name.
Good to be here.
Yeah.
Kholodilina, I am.
Kholodilina.
Daria. Yeah.
So Daria is a Georgian by birth and a Georgian by heart. Georgia is a stunning country, by the way. I was there a few years ago. She's an expert in wine and gastronomy, and she's an inbound tour operator in Georgia. She's been going since 2018 under the brand trailsandwines.com. However, prior to that, Daria has been writing blogs about wine, about food, and about travel since about 2010. So she's a content creator as well as a tour operator. She's also worked for the Georgian National Tourism Authority in marketing roles, and she's recently been working on some projects for a Berlin economic situation. Again, all about gastronomy and wines. So that's a varied background, Daria, but it's all about wine and it's all about food. And it's mostly
that's the best topic.
Yeah. So for our listeners, and a lot of our listeners are in America, and they'll think Georgia, America, whereas this is Georgia, Caucasus. So just give us a little bit background of where Georgia is in the world, sort of country it is, sort of people, who its neighbors are.
Right. So Georgia is located on the edge of Europe and Asia at the Black Sea coast, and our northern border is the Caucasus Mountains, really impressive mountains, like 3,000, 5,000 meters high. So like a great place to hike and explore some trails, obviously. And the rest is lowlands that are good for wines. That's basically the background of the name I chose for my activity. And Georgia's neighbors are, except of the Black Sea, of course, are Turkey, Armenia, Azerbaijan, and Russia. So that's kind of neighborhood. And I would say that it's a very interesting country because it has its own culture, and it's also influenced in a way by all the neighbors and all the empires that were wanting to have it as a part of it. But it's an independent country at the moment, and we are doing quite well.
And how many people live in Georgia?
Oh, people are very hospitable. Actually, there was only one mistake in the introduction. I'm a Ukrainian by birth, but I live in Georgia for 9 years, and I'm already a Georgian honorary citizen. I'm basically do everything to promote my country, my new homeland, so say second homeland. When I came to Georgia for the first time, I was just smashed by the fact how kind and hospitable people live here. And then when I already like came more and more time as a tourist, and I decided that I want to live here, and then I was figuring out what to do. I ended up being in tourism, and then once I switched from government job to the real kind of field work, I thought, and I still think that I made the right choice, because it's working with those hospitable and nice people. They like to eat, they like to drink, they like to have fun. So it's
We
all
actually have
about
another
this.
connection because as we speak, I have a Ukrainian mother and child in my house as we speak.
Oh,
Refugees from
really?
has been here since
Thank you.
So now I've been to Georgia now, and I've been to Italy and France and other main wine growing regions. And when you're in France, everybody's saying like it's all about the wine, and in Italy it's all about the wine, in Spain it's all about the wine. I've never been to a country it's so obsessed with wine as Georgia. When they say it's all about the wine in Georgia, it really is all about the wine. Every third shop is selling wine. It is just obsessed with wine.
Yeah. I mean, it's how to say, like it's not the wine culture you expect from a wine country sometimes. So in Spain and Italy and France, it's all about like this fine tastings. I mean, Georgia, it goes like from very grassroots level when you come to a family and you are offered a homemade wine to like the small wineries. The amount of small wineries is just overwhelming. It's growing year by year. And of course, there are some big kind of flagship wineries that are uh, having like big exports, so like selling a lot of wine abroad. There are all possible things wine related, but I should also say that wine is a part of Georgian cultural code, because as I mentioned, like it was on the edge of different empires for centuries, and some empires were not very wine friendly due to mostly religious reasons. And Georgians had to replant their vines to the forests, or like make wine secretly in the cellars, or when there were also religious repressions, they were baptizing children in the wine cellar. So wine cellar was a holy place, and that's why it's also like very special for Georgians. It's more than a drink. It's more than a kind of gastronomic aspect to it. It's also a kind of sacred role, and that's what makes it very special.
They do seem to drink a lot of it. That was my experience
Yeah.
of being in Georgia. The volume of consumption is quite high.
That's true.
So why did you
Yeah.
start?
Also, well, volume-wise, yeah, that.
Why did you start
Well,
training wine?
I wanted to communicate this culture.
Go on, go on.
Yeah, I wanted to communicate this whole story to real people, because like working for the government institution that promotes tourism is great. It's a very important and responsible job. But when, for example, we were traveling to various travel shows globally, I had to explain a lot of these little things to tour operators, to journalists, to, if it was a B2C exhibition, yet also to regular people who were passing by. And then I thought that, yeah, to those people who dare to come to Georgia, I would love to serve them the best experiences, because also there were some things when they were saying like something they didn't like, something they found too touristic. And I wanted to show kind of not very like this, not a Disneyland part of tourism, but like to connect travelers to real people, to those people who made me fall in love with Georgia. And so far, it's the best part of what we are doing. It's I say we because it's me and my husband, who is Georgian by birth, and who was also working for the National Tourist Board, but in product development. So he was creating products and I was marketing them. And now we do mostly the same for our company.
So tell us a bit about your customer. Who is your customer? Where do they come from? Why are they coming to Georgia? Is it just for wine, or is it wine is just a little bit of the trip?
Right. So our customers are mostly from Europe, but we also have guests from the United States and even from New Zealand. So it's less of Eastern Europe. Many people might think like I'm Ukrainian, so I must have been working with Ukrainians all the time. But no, we kind of targeted Central and Western Europe. People who traveled well before and who are curious enough to come to Georgia and kind of go on this exploration trip. So people who would like to spend money on tasting new things and travel into less popular parts of the world and even of Georgia. And yeah, basically it worked well till this year because even the global pandemic couldn't stop our guests from coming. So when Georgia opened, we still had our lovely Germans, Belgians, and Americans. But this year, the war was more serious disaster, so they don't feel too safe in the region. So this year, we had real surge in the amount of guests we had, and yeah, that's probably the most difficult year in our operation time. But we are looking forward, for things to get better.
So
Of
even
course.
though Georgia's not, well, geography-wise,
Yeah,
it's fairly close to Ukraine, but the impact of Ukraine on the Georgian tourism has been dramatic then?
yes, of course, because well, first of all, yeah, it's such a big thing that I mean, it influences the grain export and so on. So like food wise, like the products also got more expensive here, and like it influences the prices of our gastronomy tourists in a way. But yeah, this is the minor thing. So yeah, safety thing. For the Europeans and especially also for the guests from far away, so from America, from Canada, from New Zealand, Georgia is still close to Russia. And if Russia dared to do such a huge thing in the middle of Europe, they can potentially, probably, however, it's not likely at the moment, to do something here. That's what they think. I think it's not, it's not what's going to happen, but yeah, that's what many people thought, and that's why they postponed their tours for the next year.
Yeah, it makes sense. It's difficult, but it does make sense. You mentioned you've had quite dramatic price increases. So I think I was in Georgia in 2019, just before in fact, I was just before the pandemic, a couple of months before the pandemic started. I think I was in Georgia November, December 2019, and then the pandemic started February 2020.
Good times.
I found it high, great value destination. When you looked at the quality of the wine, the food, and the accommodation that was on offer for the price that was being paid, as a European, I thought it was an incredible value destination.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's getting as we grow a lot of things, but we also, for example, we import the food for animals, and that's why our meat is quite expensive and so on. So now the prices are growing, and Georgia is not as bargain as it was say 5-7 years ago anymore. Yeah, in 2019 it was also much cheaper. Yeah, but I mean, it's still worth it, I suppose. It's not as extreme. And the hotels we have here, they are quite affordable still. So I would say that Airbnbs are overloaded because there is also a lot of refugees and a lot of people who are escaping the neighboring countries because they don't want to go to army. Yeah, because of that, the prices for Airbnbs grew really dramatically, but the hotels are still quite affordable, and there are a lot of nice small and big hotels as well. So from this side, it's nothing changes.
Yeah, so you're in a reasonably not unique, because there is other countries suffering the same, but you are in a minority situation.
Closer to the epicenter.
Yeah, your business coming out. All businesses had a difficult time for 2 years with the pandemic, but then you've come out of pandemic and then gone into situation not of your own making, and it's happening because of global politics in another country. It's not even in the country you're in, but it's having a dramatic effect on your business that the country you're in. And I think that's worth highlighting to all our listeners who are maybe focusing on just recovery from the pandemic, whereas there's certain destinations in the world who have got more than just recovery from the pandemic to focus on.
Yeah, well, also we used to work with several wine clubs, kind of wine tasting groups from Ukraine. That was our kind of the best clients from Ukraine that would come here, especially for wine tours. And they, of course, they couldn't come this year. So I suppose all those lovely people are now in London or in some other places in, like say in Europe. But also the our Belgians and Germans and Czech people, they are also waiting a bit. What can we do? But tomorrow we have a tour, for example. So we still have some things to do, but it's not just as good as it went before. So I'm still positive.
Going forward, because we're at the end of the season or the end of the 2022 season, although it's not been great for what we've discussed. What's your plans? What are you looking at for 2023? What's your challenges for 2023? What do you think could go well? What do you think could go bad for 2023?
So at the moment, we already have bookings, mostly from the United States. Thank you guys for supporting us. Mostly, my challenge is to predict how prices will change again. Because, for example, because of the war, even the tours we sold for one price last year, then the prices changed dramatically, and we almost lost some money on some tours. But so I'm very cautious about price planning for next year. So what if we say this tour would cost say $900, and then something would change, and for us it will get more expensive. So I'm really thinking a lot about it, but also I need to change the kind of marketing narrative to make people to convince the guests that it's actually safe. So I'm thinking what to add to our regular stuff about great trekking routes and such cool wineries that they're about to visit, how to show them, how to convince them that it's actually safe and it's kind of far away from war. I think those are the main challenges. But those people who are booking with us already, they're kind of hopeless foodies and they love Georgian food so much, they're curious and they really want to come and spend several weeks here and taste everything they can in many regions. Basically those all are foodies, and we also have several bookings for hiking tours already. And so you asked before what people are interested in, and we try to concentrate on these two main things. So it's basically nature-based experiences and wine-based experience. So if of course there are people who do not drink alcohol, and it's not a problem for us, so we can offer them some good hikes, some cultural insights, and also great gastronomy. So they will just embark on some other adventure, not wine adventure. But for example, also Georgia is very famous for religious sites. So there are pilgrimage tours here, also different related to different religions. Also there are Christian and Muslim and Jewish tours. And we are not experts in this field, neither my partner nor I. And the guides we hire, they are also mostly hiking and wine and gastronomy guides. So we want to concentrate on those two main things and not be everything for everybody. So even in 2019, we even got the national award best niche product, because mostly a lot of Georgian tour companies, they offer everything. And we didn't want that. We wanted to do what we love and do it really well.
So it does sound like a big challenge for next year is around content creation to actually get the message, because the people who are coming are going to come anyway. The people who are not concerned about war zones and understand geography and understand that Georgia is not in Ukraine, etc., they're coming anyway. But there's another market that, if they understood a bit more, could be influenced to come, but they're probably not as confident travelers. They're certainly looking at areas of the world, and because of the war, they're going to be like, oh, should we really go there? So that sounds like quite a big content job and education job. Again, it's not not as simple as writing a blog and saying it's safe here, please come. That's not going to cut it. So
exactly,
quite a big task. Is there anything that's going to help you that? Is Georgia, from the National Tourism Board, from a collection of all the other operators, because that's a big marketing message that needs to go out collectively, not just from
one operator.
One operator doing that. Every single operator needs to be doing that. and then a collective needs to be doing that as well.
Yeah, the National Tourist Board is actually doing a really good job marketing-wise. But I mean, they're trying not to be like too openly political, but they keep repeating this message about being a safe destination, not only from war perspective, also people ask about the crime rate and how safe it's to travel here, like for women, and like, can you go to mountains, hike to the mountains? How safe is that? And basically it is safe. So even before I got a family and like became a kind of a serious woman and a wife of a Georgian, as a single Ukrainian, I was walking like at night from a bar home safely. And like I would say that in general crime rate is really low, and it's basically like mostly like some petty crimes rather than something like really big. So it's a really safe country. I feel here more safe than in many, even some like European cities, for example.
Yeah,
And that's what we are trying to talk about. Yeah.
Yeah, I was in Georgia maybe 2.5 weeks, and I can pick up an unsafe destination very quickly because I travel a lot, and Georgia didn't send off any of the signals as an unsafe destination. It was a very safe destination for travel. From my perspective, it was a safe destination. So I think it's not so much the safety of the country itself. I think it's the regional difficulties that the marketing is the message got to get out to overcome the regional difficulties to try and get some volume coming back in. Let's the actual incoming flights into Georgia at the moment, has there been any drop off in the number of flights coming in? Has the airlines pulled out any, or are they still flying as many flights in?
Yeah, they are almost back to the pre-pandemic level. So we have several international airports. So the main hub is Tbilisi, the biggest one. Yeah. Then it's Kutaisi. It's the hub for low-cost flights. It's in the central part of the country, and there is also Batumi, which is on the seaside. And all of them are catering quite a lot of countries. Like the main problem that people can encounter is the very early flights. So many flights are landing in Tbilisi at 4 a.m. or 5 a.m. or 6 a.m. And if it's a picky traveler, maybe they think they kind of think about different destinations, but it doesn't happen too often. So we don't get these people usually. So people who end up booking with us, they are curious enough and they are motivated by exploration so much that they actually don't care about these early flights. They would just come, have a proper rest, and then in the afternoon be ready to rock and go on the city tour or some cooking class or whatever we can offer for them.
Again, my own experience there, because of the geography, for travellers, particularly if you're going long haul, if you're flying all the way from the US, Georgia, because of its geography, is really central to add another couple of countries on in the one trip. It's very easy to travel into Armenia from Georgia, very easy to travel into Azerbaijan from Georgia. And they're three very unique, different countries. They're not like moving from one country similar to the country, although they're very close to each other and it's very easy to move between them. They're uniquely different. And I think that makes that region, when people understand the geography of it, it's a big attraction to me anyway, to travel in a long distance, have access to three uniquely different small destinations that are all connected by train, by private taxi, by buses, by all the infrastructure that is there.
Yeah, by airlines too, but we try to promote land travel more because it's like more eco-friendly, and we are a member of the Ecotourism Association of Georgia, and we we prefer to avoid these flights between the countries that are nearby because, of course, like out of US, there is no other way to reach us. But if, for example, at least if it's a combo tour, we would advise our guests, to take the car or a train and then go to Armenia or Azerbaijan. Unfortunately, now Azerbaijan has its land border closed for everybody for incoming. You can fly in. But at least also the connection of Georgia and Armenia is easy and it's nice, and the countries are similar and also very, like at the same time, very different from each other. We have great partners in Armenia, and we offer some like transboundary tours. Also, that's a lot of fun to kind of to visit both countries. I would recommend that if people have time.
Yeah, I use land transport cars to go to Armenia, but I used an overnight train, if I remember correctly, to go to.
Oh,
Yeah. I sleep. I can sleep anywhere. It's fine. But obviously, if that border's closed now, then it forces people back into there. So going back to before your challenges at the moment, what was going well in the business since you've started it? What's the things that have like pleased you with the business? What has been going well? Obviously, you've got some challenges at the moment. What's the
to
good
be
things?
honest, it started so well that the whole pandemic and war situation just got us smashed more, even morally than financially, to be really honest. Because so I started the business in 2018, and before I got already like to be like brutally honest, so I had this office job in the National Tourist Board, but I had my blog as well about things happening in Georgia, how is life here, and so on. And also there are a couple of websites that are now like that grew to bigger aggregators later. I will not mention them because we are like concentrated entrepreneur thing here. But I was writing, contributing there as well, and people were booking tours with me on weekends. So I liked to share my knowledge about Tbilisi, about city history, about food and wine, or eventually go to a couple of wineries. So it was kind of my something between side hustle and love project. And the word of mouth worked so well that people kept writing to me and asking if I can guide them next year, and then next year, and then maybe some friends of them. So I looked at my 2018 calendar, and I saw that there were so many people willing to travel with me. And to be honest, I was also quite bored with the kind of office routine. So I took this leap of faith and decided just to quit and to start something new and to work in the field only, and get to help the travelers see Georgia with my eyes. And then my future husband jumped on board and took over the trails direction because he knows it so much better than I. He's the author of the national route marking standard, and he's a mountain person. And I'm mostly concentrated on food, wine, and kind of historical background of that. So I thought it was a good combo, and we got a lot of bookings. Our geography was like going really well. So even like um, we had the cooking class experience, and in the end of the cooking class, we were given like the small cookbook with the recipes that we cooked. And one of these books traveled to the research station in Antarctic. So one guy there from I think he was English. He wanted to cook a Georgian meal for their fellow researchers, and he got our cookbook and some dishes he made from there. So even like things like this happened. Also, we hosted several TV crews from different countries that were shooting the shows about Georgia. That was also like a different experience. So it was kind of commercial tour, but also on that tour, people were shooting things. So we participated in all kinds of reality shows, as like in the background. So that was a really fun ride till the pandemic came. And then basically on the third day of lockdown in Georgia, I already started doing online tastings because I felt like, right, we cannot do anything, so let's at least have fun and keep educating people about Georgia. So then, of course, in the end of 2020, everybody was so tired with this online tours and online tastings that we just stopped and switched to also we got some consulting offers, how to kind of there were still like people, small businesses who wanted to, for example, farms who wanted to start hosting tourists or start a guest house in the mountains, but they didn't know what to expect. So they have a house, but they don't know what to offer to the guests, what they are expecting. And we were hired by different organizations to help them, to give them our insights, to guide them through the process. So, right, so you have a guest house. So the guest from here, like from like Europe, would expect this. The guest from like say Ukraine, would expect that if you want to add food and wine, like be sure that you need to charge for that, because some people were ashamed. Like it's like a guest is coming to your house, like how dare you ask for money? Like it's not Georgian, but we were saying that if you start a business, of course you have to be kind and hospitable to the guests, but you cannot give everything for free, because otherwise it's not a business. So like things like this, like really on this grassroots level, and that was also fun, and that helped us floating, kind of be still there, and then it helped, like we felt like we are contributing and we are growing the next service providers for us, which was also fun. And basically then in 2021 already tourism picked up, and we also had some great groups. And then 22 came, and we are still there. Just with less guests.
The situation, although we can't ignore it, there's a war and we don't know, none of us know how that's going to play out. But if we got some stability in the region, what do you want for your business? What do you want? What's your vision going forward for the business? Is you keeping this a small local business focused on what you're doing now, or do you want to make it into a much bigger business? You want to go into different regions? What's the vision for where you're trying to take this?
So basically, even in 2020, we wanted to hire another person to help us with the with just regular routines, with operating stuff, because we felt like, so we were organizing everything ourselves, and we were guiding sometimes if there were some like special groups, like really like some sommeliers would come, and just not regular people who want to taste wine, but like really nerdy people, then I would guide them. Or like some really experienced hikers, then Zviad, my husband, would go. But also like we were ready to hire more people, to start working with more guides and drivers, to also to have like social media like team, or say like person, 1 or 2 people. And then of course we couldn't afford it because we didn't know how things would develop. And my aim is actually to outsource more things, more operational stuff. Then of course outsource more of the social media, and give more fun tours to more guides. So definitely growing, but I'm not sure if we will be able to grow to like a corporation, because it's also like it doesn't fit to the philosophy of kind of small company that works with small wineries and farms and everything. So yeah, I would like to grow to medium size maximum, and kind of keep offering the authentic experiences, not to just again like offer the Disneyland of a huge winery where there is only a guide being there for you without any personal stories. So saying, like this is the wine, this is very old, this is very new, have your drink, thank you, goodbye, the shop is there. So this is not for me, not for us. And I want to keep it personal till the maximum.
So I now have a contact in Georgia.
But talking about
for you to send the wine.
But talking about regions,
in the UK, it's quite difficult to get Georgian wine. It's quite difficult.
Well, there are some nice shops there, but there are not much, and Georgian wine is not represented in the gastronomy really well, unfortunately, yet. But it's the task that national wine agency should work on. Because we have also the governmental body that is promoting Georgian wine separately, not only in tourism context, but mostly it kind of educates the sommeliers and buyers and retailers about what Georgian wine is and how to the export. So it's their task. I'm doing my little job.
I have a theory on it, because I've seen how much you guys drink over there. I think you're drinking it all in Georgia, and that's where none of it's getting exported.
Right. And talking about regions, I would actually like to offer more combo tours like Georgia, Armenia, as you said, because it's also an exciting destination. And if people come from far away, you're right. That's a great combo experience. So we already have everything in place for that. Like, as I said, reliable partners, and we know to which places to take the people. And I think I would promote this as well, slightly with more vigor, with more effort.
For the listeners, when you add another country in and you make a combo of two countries, or a third and you make a three, there's plenty of data out there that proves that increases your conversions. It doesn't necessarily increase your inquiries, but it increases your conversions on your inquiries, because people who are traveling a long distance, if they see the opportunity to do more than one destination simply without a lot of logistics, they will grab that opportunity for sure, and it can have quite a dramatic effect on your conversions of your inquiries. I mean, I've only been to Georgia once in my life, but I went to experience Georgia, but because I knew I could just jump into Armenia and Azerbaijan as well. So that location makes it very attractive. But then from an operator's perspective, you have to educate the clients, because not everybody will know that. Not everybody will get the map out and look at it.
Yeah, that's a good point. Thank you.
Okay, then what's the last thing you want to leave our listeners with? What would you tell our listeners is a great thing about what you're doing, and what's your ask for help? So tell our listeners a great thing and then ask for help.
So definitely the greatest thing that we are doing is getting people connected to those fantastic personalities behind what they eat and drink and where they hike. So it's not only the destination we are offering, but we are offering to get to know the locals and to spend time with them and to understand how the people tick here, so to say. So it's very personal experience of the country. That's really the great thing. And I can only complain about inability to do many things at the same time. So if I'm concentrated on social media, then something else is suffering, or if I'm more thinking about if I'm busy with office job, then I don't manage to do everything social media wise. So I definitely need some more extra people on board, and for this I need to sell more tours. So that's the biggest challenge at the moment.
The biggest challenge for our community, if you're listening, Georgia is still open for business. It is a fantastic destination.
Yes,
I can vouch for that. I've seen it, I've ate the food, I've drank the wine, I've hiked in the mountains. So it is a fantastic destination. So if at all you can drive some of your customers to that part of the world, please do. So Daria, thank you very much.
The mountains and vineyards are waiting.
Yep. Thank you very much.